Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we are discussing a watch that is an excellent candidate to be your only watch. Rugged but elegant, complex but cloaked in simplicity, durable and serviceable forever. 43 millimeters in stainless steel. This is a 2010 Bosworld launch called the Omega Seamaster Aqua Terra Annual Calendar. A gorgeous all-arounder. It's 14.7 millimeters thick. From lug to lug, it measures 51.4 millimeters, and because of the pivoted end link of the bracelet, 51.4 is the total distance across the wrist. Now, this timepiece on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, wears beautifully, comfortable, relatively narrow across the wrist given all the complexity and features that sit within. It's flat enough with a sloped conical bezel that you will be able to slide it underneath just about every dress cuff. It's not a thin watch, but nor is it an encumbrance to your cuff. The watch from over the top looks good. I would recommend the watch for a wrist no smaller than 15 centimeters in circumference. So you don't want to go much smaller than my wrist, but note, even at 15, you're going to get a good fit and a good look. Move out a little bit, you can see the watch in proportion against my forearm. It's a nice match. It's a very solid piece. These days, Omega bracelets are a one-for-one qualitative rival with Rolex, and you can really feel that here. The links are a little bit shorter in profile than you'll find on a Rolex Oyster, but they have the same polished outboard face and satination across their top. Removable links here are fixed by screws, and you can see that you can size this watch using your jeweler's screwdrivers. Double deployment clasp. You can see it as a sequential close. One side goes before the logo. Then it's a twin trigger release, and the twin triggers ensure that it can't accidentally pop open during active periods. Lovely satin finished sheer case band, relatively narrow. These are the lyre style lugs you've heard of on Speedmasters and Seamasters. You see they bevel inward and then they actually angle outward. Inboard, they're satinated. Outboard, they're polished, and there's an expanding polished bevel that expands over the hoods of the lugs. There's a little bit of a countersink to the crown to protect it against shearing. It is a screw down crown. The watch is 150 meters water resistant. The Teak deck concept, this striation, that's what Omega calls it. It's designed to evoke the deck of a yacht, as the Aqua Terra has always been the surf and the turf Seamaster. Fun on your yacht, and then later in the dining room or ballroom of the yacht club. This watch, being highly water resistant, shock resistant, and anti-magnetic, can do it all. So it's not as formidable in terms of its diving equipment as some of the rotating bezel Seamasters. This watch takes after the original 1948 Seamaster, which was initially a highly water resistant dress watch. The divers came later. This is the original spirit of the Seamaster. We have applique indices, which are rhodium plated, lovely broad arrow style minute hand, Dauphine style hour hand. You can see that the hands themselves have a combination of fluting and fastening with a little bit of satination, so there's a contrast between the polished elements and the satin elements of the hands. Makes for excellent contrast. The dial is a silver matte applique Omega logo and marquee, and then a satinated frame for the day, or I should say the month and the date, and it is a double quick set, which means you can quick set the date and then you can quick set the month, and it's that easy to do. It's an annual calendar, so it only needs to be adjusted once a year during the jump from February to March. It can deal with all of the other changes. It just needs your help once a year. This is a complication originally designed by Patek Philippe back in 1996. Today, it's one of the most popular calendar complications. You can see the bezel is conical and polished. The case back is caliber 8601. Twin mainspring barrels, 60-hour power reserve, a quirky silicone hairspring-specific 25,200 vibration per hour beat rate, two mainspring barrels, so unlike a single barrel movement, there isn't a big drop off in amplitude after 24 hours, and it doesn't create risk of overbanking or too much amplitude when it's fully wound. That's the advantage, really, of having the two barrels. It's a 39 joule movement. It is a coaxial escapement as invented by George Daniels, and that improves power reserve, it improves precision, and it improves performance between servicings. It serves several different purposes. The watch is a certified COSC Swiss chronometer, so it has that feather in its cap adjusted in 5 positions. With the silicone hairspring and anti-magnetic escapement, it is almost amagnetic, so stout is it against magnetism. With a full balance bridge and a free sprung index, it is very shock tolerant, and again, you have both the double quick set and a hacking seconds or stop seconds system, so you can set the watch precisely against a reference Time. It is a very, very, very tech-dense watch with a lovely spiraled arabesque Côte de Genève across the movement, and unique to Omega blackened screws. Rather than polishing all the screws or bluing them, most of the screw here's have been blackened, which is a cool and distinctive look for the watch. If you love this watch, reach out to me, Tim Mosso at thewatchbox.com, for availability and pricing. Back with the Aqua Terra annual calendar, I should have mentioned earlier that the watch has a 21mm lug spacing.